Hello friends, it's Courtney here from Elder Moon. We're going through some really big cosmic events right now, and I wanted to give you a big picture of what's happening in the stars and some practical tools to get grounded as we move through these coming weeks, because there's so much going on. I came on last week to talk to you guys about the lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about wisdom and innovation and where we're headed. So tying off those loose ends and preparing ourselves for the journey ahead. And I don't know about you guys, but it brought up some major shadow work for me, some big endings. I lost a loved one. There was some huge shifts in my world that brought up a lot of healing and a lot of grief and a lot of things to be looked at and transformed. That was on May 26th. But coming up on June 10th, this Thursday, we have a solar eclipse in Gemini. And solar eclipses are all about beginnings. So what are we initiating? And Gemini is the sign of communication, inner communication, but also how we communicate with one another and how we see ourselves in the other. It's the sign of the twins, right? Like, how are we mirroring one another and how do we share information and wisdom between one another? So during the solar eclipse, it's going to be incredibly important to listen to your inner dialogue and your self-talk and recognize how you are having these inner conversations, and also what it is in others that triggers you or that you admire and how those things are mirrored within yourself. So a little bit more about this eclipse. It's a mercurial eclipse. Gemini is the ruler of Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of communication. And you might know that Mercury is in retrograde right now. We're about halfway through a Mercury retrograde cycle. Because Mercury is in retrograde during this eclipse, it feels like it's going to be about reevaluation and rethinking or re-looking at how we communicate and how we show up. During this eclipse, Mercury retrograde is also conjunct to the moon and sun, which is going to really magnify the energy of Mercury and really amplify our ability to perceive how we communicate and how we share information, and if that is grounded in truth. It feels like an opportunity to evaluate in what ways are you holding back your speech, you're holding back your truth, what ways are you afraid to speak your wisdom into the world or your authenticity into the world out of fear of repercussion or maybe judgment. Are the ways that you show up in the world outwardly aligned with your inner world? Is there any dissonance between who you are in your community or on social media and who you really authentically are? These types of things are going to be really magnified through this cycle. So really important to take a moment to doing the inner work, to listen to our inner voice and our inner dialogue and become conscious witnesses of how we're showing up in the world, so that we can become more self-aware about how aligned we are to our authenticity and our truth. And then setting those intentions from that place of groundedness so that you are sending clear signals about what you want, so you are able to receive the gifts that you need to fulfill your life purpose. That is the energy of this moment to me. And diving a little bit deeper, we have a lot of planets in mutable signs. So we have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, and we have the Sun, Moon, and Mercury all in Gemini. These are all mutable signs, which means fluidity, shape-shifting, lots of movement. They're not fixed, they're not anchored. So for me, this is like anchors up, we're setting sail, let's do this. There's lots of creativity in the air right now. So harness some of that energy and use it creatively. We also have a square between Mercury, the moon, and Neptune happening at the time of the eclipse at 23 degrees of Pisces. So that's really carrying forward that mutable energy and amplifying it. And Neptune is all about intuition. It's all about emotions and spirituality. It's about that deeper, more feminine yin understanding of the world. This could muddy the waters a little, but it's a ripe moment to find that balance between the head and the heart and really tune into what is it that your inner voice is asking you to do, and what ways is it asking you to show up, and how is that being balanced by your actions, by your thoughts, by your beliefs, and your behaviors, so the mind. And this is a really ripe moment to work with those two worlds. I have the visual of the tarot card of temperance when I think of this. So balancing those elements within ourselves and finding that harmony so that we can be in touch with our intuitive self, but then also have the willpower and the logic to make those dreams into reality. And then right after the solar eclipse, which is Thursday, on Friday, Mars moves into Leo. So this is going to just amplify that energy of stepping out into your authenticity, coming into your truth, speaking your truth, and showing up in a big way. Leo is unafraid to be seen. Leo reminds you to be confident, to be that royal lioness, step into that power, and really embrace all the juiciness of you and be unafraid and unapologetic in how you show up. And I think it's fabulous that this is happening during Pride Month, because what better time to amplify the energy of just showing up and being fabulous and being unafraid and being in the truth and in the light. So to kind of wrap this energy up into a nice little package, to me this solar eclipse is all about stepping into your power and being unafraid to show up for your authenticity, recognizing the places that you're still holding back out of fear, or you're putting a veil or a mask on for an outer world, and removing that mask and letting yourself be truly who you are, and to show up and be unafraid to communicate that with the world. When you show up in your authenticity, you give others permission to show up in their authenticity too. And it's like a domino effect of truth and authenticity. And if we can all show up from this place of vulnerability and truth, then we are more empowered as a community, and we're more able to experience love, experience connection, and joy as well. So moving towards the solar eclipse, keep those things in mind. Another thing I'd like to share with you is plants that could be beneficial right now through the solar eclipse and the Mercury retrograde. I personally am working with wood betony. This is a wood betony from our garden. It's so beautiful, but you can also find it as a tincture. It grows wild in North America as well, and it has these beautiful little leaves. Wood betony is a great herb for the nervous system. Mercury and Gemini are all about communication, and the nervous system is the seat of our body's communication. It is how our inner world and our outer world communicate. And so right now, working with plants for the nervous system can be really helpful to anchor us, to ground us, to get us into our center, and to drop from that parasympathetic state of fight or flight into that rest and digest sympathetic state, so that we can be present with what's coming through for us and process it. Plant medicine is an incredible support for us in those times of need, so reach out to your favorite nervine for support. And I also would love to invite you to join me on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a solar eclipse new moon workshop. In this workshop, we're going to be doing a guided meditation to find that inner calm, that inner clarity, and that inner peace. And then I'm going to guide you to meet your highest self and your spirit team and get those deeper messages that are trying to come through for you right now that you're ready to receive. And then I'll guide you through an intention setting ceremony where we will seed our intentions into that fertile ground with all this beautiful mutable energy right now and put them out into the universe. I'm so thrilled to be offering this to the community. This is something that I usually only do with my private clients, and we always have such a great time. So I'm excited to bring that out to you as well. And I'll see you on the solar eclipse. You can sign up for that workshop through the link in the description of this video, and I'll see you there. Happy lunations!